iPhone 5 versus iPhone 5S versus iPhone SE versus iPhone 6S Plus iOS 10.2 gaming. Let's get into that right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here. iPhone 5 to the left. Over here we have the iPhone SE, and then next up is going to be the iPhone 5S. I'm gonna switch these guys around, the iPhone SE and the 5S, in just a minute here, but you can see the iPhone 5 there, no SE badge, and here is the iPhone 6S Plus here on iOS 10.2. Let's confirm the software version on each of these gadgets right here. So the software on the iPhone 5 is running iOS 10.2 as well as on the SE, 5S, and 6S. So let's go over here. You can see the iPhone 5 iOS 10.2 14C92, same here 14C92 for SE, same here for iPhone 5S 14C92 here, and same here for the iPhone 6S 14C92, just to confirm that we are running the same exact version on all of these devices. So we're going to run a gaming test, but first I want to show you that all of these guys do have all their applications closed in the background, so this is totally fair. And I did switch the iPhone 5S around and SE, so it's a little bit easier to see this. So let's begin with Mario Run. Now this is more of an app gaming speed test rather than an app gameplay test, so we're not going to actually be playing the game, but you could see the iPhone 6S, then SE, and then the 5S and 5, but we're not actually going to be playing these games and showing frame rates and things like that in this particular video. Let me know if you want to see something like that in the future, but this one is just a game speed test for iOS 10.2 to see how fast these games load up. So the next application is going to be Temple Run. So let's see how this does on all of these devices here. Looks like the SE and 6S Plus are hanging right up next to each other, going head to head, but it looks like the iPhone SE was the fastest here. So I'm going to give this test here to the iPhone SE, but actually playing the game here in Temple Run, once you start playing in this game, everything is pretty much the same. Not a big difference here in terms of frame rates in this particular game here. But let's get into the next game in our test, which is going to be Subway Surfers. So a very popular game here in Subway Surfers, and we do have an annoying notification there on the SE, so let's see who gets there first though. Looks like the 6S Plus, but I'm sure the SE would have been right there with it if it wasn't for that annoying notification. So I'm just going to call this a draw here for the SE and the 6S Plus, but now the 5S looks like it is catching up for third place, and here is the iPhone 5 lagging way behind. It is a 4-year-old iPhone now, well maybe like 5 years old now on the iPhone 5, but you can still use the iPhone 5, which is pretty cool stuff to say for such an old device that's really going to cost you pretty much nothing if you decide to pick one up, and you could still run iOS games here, even here in 2017 on a 5-year-old phone. But in terms of gameplay, once you start playing, you're not going to see too much lag, a little bit of jitter here on the 5 and 5S, but not too much. Okay, so let's jump into Jetpack Joyride right here, and you can see it looks like the SE blazing to the finish line. So SE is going to take this one in this particular test. TMC processor on the SE, Samsung chipset in my iPhone 6S Plus, and TSMC there in the iPhone 5S. And then over here on the iPhone 5, that's a Samsung chipset as well. So you could see right here that the iPhone 5 and 5S were way behind that A9 CPU here. But overall, it looks like the 6S Plus and the SE are the blazers in terms of gaming performance. 5 and 5S are actually closer than you would think, but the 5S is definitely about 25% better, I would say, than the iPhone 5. But actually playing the games, like I say, once you get in, they're pretty enjoyable on every single device. Let's hop over into Ninja now here on these devices, and you can see the 6S Plus is going to take the win here in my opinion. SE looks like it was slightly behind the 6S Plus, and then the 5, I don't know what happened with the 5S there, but the 5 I think took that one. Let me know if I didn't see that correctly down below in the comment section. But like I say, once we get in the gameplay here, once again, not a problem on each of these devices, but of course a buttery smooth and better smooth experience there on the 6S as well as the SE. Okay guys, so let's get into bike race on each one of these devices and see what happens here. So once again, looks like the SE came out on top, maybe the 6S Plus, very close, I would call it a tie, and slightly behind is the 5S and 5. So definitely once again A9 coming out ahead on all of these tests, which is to be expected, but I just want to see by how much in this complete video here. But you can see Slither about the same there on the 6S Plus, and that's funny because they both have the same processor but a different manufacturer of that processor. So it looks like whether you're getting the Samsung chip over there on the 6S Plus or the SE, it doesn't really matter if you get the TSMC model or not. Gaming is going to be great on either model here, but like I said, once you get into Slither and playing games here, not a problem on any of them. I did notice the iPhone 5 could stutter from time to time in this game, but overall I was still able to enjoy the experience, and it was just pretty nice stuff in my complete experience of all of these devices on iOS 10.2. Let's go into Hill Race 2 on all of these devices here, and it looks like there's another annoying ad there. So once again, I'm gonna say that the 6S Plus is gonna take the win here, but probably would have been a draw if there was not an annoying ad there. And then behind was the iPhone 5S as well as the 5. Pretty slower devices there on the 5S and 5 in terms of gameplay next to the newer ones here, but you could see, who's gonna win it here. Okay, 6S Plus is definitely taking that one. Then SE, slightly behind is the 5S, and way behind is the iPhone 5 in this particular test. And this is a casual game here, so this one's pretty easy to play as well as pretty easy on the processors. So, you know, that one's going to the 6S Plus in my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that one down below. And now let's get into the next game, which is going to be Crossy Road. Let's see what happens here. iPhone 6S Plus and SE racing to the finish line once again. Let's see what happens though. I'm gonna call that an dead even draw there, and these 5 and 5Ss are way behind in this test. So Crossy Road is highly optimized for the new chipsets, as you can see right here. What's going on there? It looks like the 5 is ahead, so the 5 is doing something wonky there, but the 5, you can see the 5 is glitching all over the place. I don't know if you could rewind that back and just check that one more time, but there was quite a bit of stutter there in delay, and now the 5S also has some stutter and delay. So Crossy Road is definitely better optimized for newer iPhones. So if you play Crossy Road a lot, this guy is definitely better optimized for the A9 chipset as well as the A10 chipset. Okay, so let's get into PVZ here. Planet versus Zombies on all these devices. You can see PopCap, iPhone 6S Plus, then iPhone SE, then 5S, and it looks like the 5 crashed. So let's go ahead and try that one more time here on the iPhone 5. And looks like another crash. Let's try it one more time. Looks like another crash. Let's go one more time. Looks like another crash. And it looks like the iPhone 5 is just definitely crashing the Planets versus Zombies. So let's get into the next game, which is going to be Pappy Jump. So wow, that one was pretty close on all of these devices. I would say SE first, 6S Plus, 5S, and then 5. And some annoying ads are popping up over there on the iPhone 6S Plus and SE, but this is a very light game. Any phone can handle this. That was my favorite game on the Android G1, was Pappy Jump. That's why I included it in this test here. But let's go ahead and go into Traffic Racer here and see what happens. SK Games are showing first on the 6S Plus, now the SE. So the 6S Plus is way ahead on this one, and that was a totally fair test. So we're gonna give this one easily to the 6S Plus. iPhone 5 surprisingly in third. So I don't know what's going on with the 5S there, but the 5 is definitely keeping up here with the 5S in this particular test. Not saying it's a faster phone, but something's going on with the 5 right there, and it's not, or the 5S, and it's not keeping up too well with the 5 in that previous test. Let's go into Hit Tennis tier and see what happens. And 6S Plus and SE tied, I believe. Maybe the SE slightly ahead there. 5 and 5S pretty close, but I would give that one to the 5S. So the 5S is definitely beating the 5 in most of these tests, but the iPhone 6S Plus and SE are really just going neck to neck in this one. And Hit Tennis, I'm gonna have to give this win to the iPhone SE. Let me know your thoughts on this one down below. Let's get into the next test here, which is going to be Stack, a very cool light game, time-killing game here. Looks like the SE is jumping out with the lead, and I would have to give that one to the SE. It did show an ad, but it was first there, and then the 6S Plus, then the 5S, and now the 5 here. But going ahead and playing this game as well, a very similar experience on all devices. Just you get a better, more immersive experience on the iPhone 6S Plus due to the larger screen size of this gadget here. So let's get into the next test, which is going to be Temple Run on these devices. Temple Run 2, actually. We already did Temple Run earlier. Now I don't know why, but the notification is showing there on the 6S Plus, but the 6S Plus is showing a different theme over here. You're going to see in just a second, but the SE did take the win there, and And the 6S Plus did have a notification, but it still shouldn't be taking this long to load. So I'm still giving this win to the iPhone 6S, or to the SE here, over the 6S Plus. But the 6S Plus, you can see, has like this winter theme, and the other ones don't, but they all have the same update. So I'm not sure why that's happening here on these devices. But the 5S just now caught up, and the 5 is just really behind. So when you start getting into more graphically intensive games, such as this one, which is a little bit more graphically intensive than Temple Run the original, you're gonna see the 5 does start to slow down. And I'm telling you guys, the A9 CPU on the 6S and the SE is just very fun to use. Let's get into Stickman here now, and you guys can see that the notifications did pop up there on the iPhone 6S and SE, but I'm going to give those guys a tie just because I had to tap the notification first on the 6S Plus. That's why it looked like it won, but it did not win there. The 6S and the SE tied this one, then the 5S in my opinion, and then the iPhone 5. Let's go hit Go Skate here, and we're not going to actually go in and play here, but you can see the sub menus all work pretty much similarly here on all devices. So lighter games run well on each of these devices, but it really starts to struggle on the iPhone 5 and 5S when you get into more graphically intensive games, which we're not going to test here in this particular test because we're just testing loading times of each of the games on iOS 10.2. If you guys are wondering about updating these guys on the gaming, let's check a little bit of multitasking here for the iPhones, and you could see, let's go into stack, and surprisingly even the iPhone 5 has pretty good management here in 2017. So it's really nice to see that all of these devices can really still perform quite well and be quite functional even here in 2017, particularly the iPhone 5S and the 5, which are still usable iPhones. I'm not recommending you buy them, but they are usable iPhones. I do recommend you check out the SE minimum for 2017 here, but I didn't miss that, multitasking there on the Pappy Jump. So let's check one more thing. Let's check Hit Tennis here, and you can see that the SE reloaded it first, then the 5S, then the 5, then the 6S Plus. So I don't know what happened there, but the 6S Plus did take a L right there on that one. So just going through multitasking, you could see with all the games open, still buttery smooth on iOS 10.2. So you can game to your heart's content on any of these devices. Just be a little bit patient with the older ones. So that's pretty much going to wrap this video up of the iPhone 5 versus 5S versus SE versus 6S/6S Plus, whatever you want to call it, in this gaming test here. This was a non-scientific test, a real-world look at the loading times of gaming here on iOS 10.2. So my personal winner here is going to be the iPhone 6S Plus. Throughout this gaming test, I think it performed admirably well, very well rounded here. The very close second is the iPhone SE with its Apple A9 Beast chipset with 2 gigs of RAM here. Same GPU as the 6S Plus, but I don't know why, but in my opinion, the 6S Plus performed better. Coming in third is the iPhone 5S, and coming in last place is definitely going to be the iPhone 5, which is now the old boy, the vintage boy, the classic boy, the iPhone 5. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap this one up for me. Who is your personal winner? Comment that down below in the comment section. Do me a favor and go ahead and click the like button for me if you guys enjoyed this video. It was a really challenging video to make, so I would appreciate that much. Share this with your friends if you're interested in iOS and they're interested in iOS. It's all big community around here. This was Nick here, helping to master your technology. Have a great day wherever you are. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.